Hello and welcome to the Aunty Lisa show. Today we are doing a story about all of us, Gru, the Hares of Havoc, Sky's helicopter, a triceratops, Claire, and the gym and the ladder. Right, let's see what happens, shall we? Where to start? One day, Aunty Lisa, Aleksander and Kristoffer decided to go for a workout at the gym, where you can play on such things as the running machine and the really, really difficult step machine and do big weights like stuff like that, and pretend to be boxing and do classes, all sorts of stuff you can do at the gym. So they packed their gym kit, obviously, plenty of water, some snacks, and off they went to the gym. Aleksander was on the running machine, running super fast. Kristoffer was on the climbing machine, which is, I have forgotten its name, but he was climbing super fast on the climbing machine. And Aunty Lisa was doing weights, like, Hurrah! Everyone was like, wow, Aunty Lisa, you can lift so much. You are super strong. And she said, yeah, that's right. I'm super strong. Anyway, they were actually having a great time and sweating buckets and drinking plenty, obviously, when they bumped into their good friend Gru. And they were like, whoa, hey Gru, we never expected to see you here at the gym. And Gru said,
yeah, I know. Apparently, I got a big tummy and I've got to lose it. It's not healthy.
And Aunty Lisa said, good point, Gru. You've got to take care of your health, especially when you're a dad. And he said,
yeah, the kids are always going on about my big tummy and my big nose. But I can't do anything about the big nose. So I'm going to go to the gym and lose the big tummy.
And Kristoffer and Aleksander said, does that mean you have to stop eating cake, Gru? And Gru said,
yeah, only once a week on a Saturday. Then I have cake.
And everyone said, good. It's good to have cake sometimes. Otherwise, you just spend the whole time craving it. It's a nightmare. So, anyway, Gru was working out super hard. That's my voice being Gru. And he was sweating buckets. Loads more than anybody else in there. That's how hard he was running on the running machine, jumping up and down on things and lifting weights. He was going crazy. Everyone was really impressed. And then, all of a sudden, he went,
oh no, I feel funny.
And they went, uh-oh, what's wrong, Gru? He went,
hey.
And everyone stood around him like, oh no, I think he's passed out. Gru! I think maybe he overdid it. Quick, somebody call for an ambulance. We need to take him to a hospital. So, call for an ambulance, which is 999 in England, but it's a different number in Norway. But anyway, ask Mummy, she'll know. And so, the ambulance, though, was at another emergency. And they said, we can't get an ambulance here in time. We've got to look after Gru. How are we going to help him? Kristoffer said, I know somebody's got a helicopter can come and get him. We'll take him straight to the hospital. And Aunty Lisa said, who's that? And Kristoffer said, it's Sky, obviously. We'll call Sky and she'll be able to zoom us over there. So, Kristoffer called up Sky on his iPad. And he said, hey, Sky. And Sky said, oh, hi, Kristoffer. I haven't seen you in ages. How are you doing? And Kristoffer said, I haven't got time to chat. Gru here has passed out from exercising too much. And we think we need to take him to hospital. And Sky said, oh, that sounds terrible. Okay, this pup is on her way. I'll be there in a jiffy. Wait, where are you? Kristoffer explained they were at the gym. She said, perfect. There's a big green space just outside the gym. I'll land there. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. So, Sky was on her way. Thank goodness. Now, she flew as quickly as she possibly could, all the way over to the big little green little park just outside where the gym was. And when she got there, quite a crowd had arrived because everyone had heard that Gru had collapsed. And Gru was like, and I was like, wake up, Gru, wake up, Gru. But Gru was not waking up. No. Oh, Gru. It was very worrying time for everybody. So, Gru's quite big. So, Aunty Lisa held his arms, and Aleksander and Kristoffer had a leg each. And they carried him out all the way to Sky's helicopter. And Sky said, quick, put him on my helicopter, quick as you can. And Aleksander, Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa went, he's really heavy. I don't know if we're going to be able to get up the ladder to the helicopter. We're going to need some more help. Wow. Just at that very moment, as luck would have it, some super helpful people were driving by or riding by. How do you look at it? I'm not sure. Anyway, it was the Hares of Havoc. And Aleksander said, hey, Hares of Havoc, come over here. We need your help. And Hares of Havoc went, huh? Okay. And they drove and parked up at the edge of the park. Ran over. And Aleksander said, can you help us lift Gru up into the helicopter? He's really heavy. And Hares of Havoc said, sure, why not? You've helped us out many times, Aleksander, when we've been gloomed. And that was no fun. So, yeah, we'll help you. That'd be great. So, between everybody, they went, 1, 2, 3, hee! And they got Gru inside the helicopter. He was still passed out. People were quite worried. How could he still be passed out after all that time? So, they said, thanks very much, Hares of Havoc. And the Hares of Havoc went, no problem. Let us know how he gets on, okay? And then they zoomed off on their motorcycles. So, Gru was safely in the helicopter. Just have a little drink. And Sky said, okay, everybody get your seatbelts on now. We're ready to take off. So, she started up the rotor blades. And they took off. Up, 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 up into the sky. They flew. All the way to the hospital helipad. And when they landed, the doctors and nurses came zooming out. And they said, hey, what happened? What happened? And Aleksander, Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa explained that Gru had been exercising really hard at the gym. And then he suddenly collapsed and they didn't know why. But he was breathing and he was still alive. He just wasn't awake at the moment. So they said, thanks very much for taking your friend to us. I'm sorry we couldn't get an ambulance to you in time. But we'll take it from here. Now, you would think that would be the end of the story. But it is not. Because something crazy happened next, which was Gru went into the emergency room. That wasn't the crazy part. And they put him on a thing called a drip because they thought maybe he got really dehydrated, not drinking enough and sweating loads. And they said, do you think maybe he didn't drink enough, Aunty Lisa? And Aunty Lisa said, yeah, I think maybe it's that, but we don't know, really. So that's what they did. They put him on that and they hoped for the best. And Aunty Lisa and Aleksander and Kristoffer all sat in the waiting room with Sky like this. All just hoping that Gru would wake up soon and be okay. Now, they were just about to have a snack while they were waiting when they were rudely interrupted by a triceratops. A triceratops smashed through the front doors of the hospital. That's not something you see every day. And it started charging about the place like it'd gone completely crazy. Completely crazy. It was running up and down the corridors and smashing into things. and knocking over trolleys and annoying all the nurses. Nurses do not like to be stopped while they're doing their work. The triceratops didn't appear to care. Everyone was like, ah, that's such an annoying triceratops. Will somebody get this triceratops out of here, please? Well, no one knew where the triceratops had come from. But Aunty Lisa and Aleksander and Kristoffer thought, I wonder if it's come all the way from Jurassic World. Perhaps we should call up Claire and Owen. So, Kristoffer and Aleksander called up Owen. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, 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 ring. Ring, 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 ring. No answer. How rude. They thought, well, we'll call up Claire. She'll answer. She's a sensible one. Owen's probably asleep and ignoring us. Okay, so he called up Claire. Ring, ring. And Claire answered because she's a good girl. And they said, hey, Claire, are you missing a triceratops? And Claire said, I don't think so. Let me just check. Hold on. She looked on the computer. That's what she's doing. Checking out the cameras. She went, ooh, wait a second. Zooming in on the camera. So the triceratops enclosure. She went, 1, 2, 3. Oh no! You're right, we are missing a triceratops. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh dear. I don't know how it got out though. I can't see a gap. The enclosure is fine. What on earth could have happened? Do you happen to know where this triceratops is? And Aleksander and Kristoffer said, well, he's at the hospital, running riot. Everyone's going crazy. They are really cross about it. He keeps knocking things over. And she said, okay, I'll be right down there. I'll get Owen out of bed. I think he's asleep. We'll be right down there as quickly as we can with our triceratops transporter. And we'll come and get him, all right? Just don't let him hurt anybody and stay out of his way. And yeah, okay? All right, bye-bye. And she was gone. And I said, well, at least we know where the triceratops came from. But how did he get out? Well, they didn't have long to wait before they figured it out. Because do you know who turned up at the front door seconds later? It was Balthazar Brat. What? And he went, ha, 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 hope you like my gift. It's my gift package for the poorly grew. It's a triceratops to cheer him up. And everyone went, this triceratops is not cheering anybody up, smashing up everything. And Aleksander and Kristoffer went, hang on a minute. Hey, Balthazar Brat, how did you know Gru was poorly anyway? And Balthazar went, oh, well, you know, I find things out. I hear things. I know stuff. You know, I got my ear to the ground. And everyone went, we didn't tell anybody. And he went, well, maybe I did something bad. And Aunty Lisa said, what did you do, Balthazar Brat? Balthazar Brat went, you'll never know. And he started stomping out of there like, and he realised that was the Ghostbusters theme and he doesn't normally sing that. So he started singing a different one. He went, I'm bad, you know it. Now I start to tell you once again, who's bad? Well, he was so enjoying himself doing his song routine that he didn't notice the triceratops had been distracted from its rampage around the place. It had stopped charging up and down the corridors and it had turned around to look at him. And it was not a happy triceratops. It had had a really, really bad day. And I'll tell you what had happened to that triceratops. It had been happily eating in his enclosure. He'd had some nice bits of grass that morning and some hay. And he was looking forward to some watermelon. When, all of a sudden, a net had come out of the sky and clapped all over him. and he got and he couldn't escape. And then this mean guy in front of him now had gone, quick, put that triceratops into that cage and get him out of here. He recognised that voice because the moments after he'd been bundled into a cage and then carried away in a helicopter. And he did not enjoy a helicopter ride because he gets travel sick and really scared of heights. And he had been very angry. And then he'd been dumped outside this hospital with all sorts of weird smells. And he'd started charging around and everyone had just been running away and not helping him one bit. And now this guy turns up with his stupid singing and his stupid voice. And this was all going on in the Triceratops' head because they are very clever beings. And the Triceratops was angry. Very, very, very angry. And he started doing this. Balthazar Brat was like, and the Triceratops went, and it charged towards Balthazar Brat. And Balthazar Brat went and jumped up into the sky in quite a cool move, to be fair, a bit like a ninja. And the Triceratops just missed bashing into Balthazar Brat. But in a funny twist of fate, Balthazar Brat had forgotten he was inside. And he bashed his head on the ceiling and fell on the floor like this. Ow! And the Triceratops ran out of the door. And everyone went, ha! Serve you right, Balthazar Brat. And he went,
I feel funny. I feel funny.
Now, because doctors and nurses sign a special thing to say they will help anyone, that he's had to help Balthazar Brat. He clearly had a concussion in his head. So they ran over to Balthazar Brat and said, Balthazar Brat, what's your name? And he said, Balthazar Brat, I feel. And they said, what year is it? And he went, I don't know. That's gross. He has the potion. Coffee. Cake. Potion. And then he passed out. And everyone said, hey, what was he saying about some kind of potion? So Balthazar Brat was whisked away to a recovery room where the doctors and nurses scanned his brain to check it was still in there. It was. And make sure there was no blood on it or anything like that, that would cause him any long-term damage. There wasn't. And they put him in the recovery room. Now, Aleksander, Kristoffer and Aunty Lisa and Sky had been listening to everything he said. Sky said, hey, what was that he said about a potion? And Aunty Lisa said, I know. That makes me extremely suspicious. I wonder if he gave Gru something so that he would end up in the hospital and then the Triceratops would trample him. And everyone says, God, that's a dastardly plan. Let's go and see if Gru's awake. Thankfully, Gru was awake at last. And they said, hey, Gru, how are you doing? You collapsed at the gym. And Gru said,
I know. It was a funny feeling today.
And Auntie said, have you eaten anything unusual today or drunk anything strange? And Gru went,
something came in the post. It said it was a new chocolate bar. Just for me. A healthy one for losing weight.
And everyone went, a healthy chocolate bar for losing weight. And you believed it? And Gru went,
yeah, I believed it. I wanted to believe it was true. I ate it all.
And everyone went, do you have the wrapper, Gru?
Yeah, I've got the wrapper.
Gave the wrapper to Aunty Lisa, Aleksander and Kristoffer and Sky. And they all looked at me. We need to get this wrapper analysed. I bet it was a trick from Balthazar Brat. So they gave the wrapper to the doctors and nurses who are super smart, and they took it to the lab at the hospital. And the lab at the hospital discovered that Balthazar Brat, or whoever had made the biscuit, but it was Balthazar Brat, the chocolate bar rather, had put in it some special things that had made Gru go crazy on the running machine and all the other exercise things. And that's what had caused him eventually to pass out. He had been spiked by a chocolate bar. And everyone went, oh, that Balthazar Brat, he did this to you, Gru. He did this to you. So, just at that moment, Lucy and Agnes and the other two kids, whose name I've forgotten momentarily, Margot and Edith, it's all up there, they arrived because Aunty Lisa had called them earlier. And they said, Gru, what happened to you? And Gru said,
Balthazar Brat spiked my chocolate bar and made me go crazy. And then I collapsed at the gym. But these guys, they took me to the hospital in Sky's helicopter, I think.
And Aunty Lisa said, yeah, that's right, that's what we did. And they said, oh, thanks, you guys, that was brilliant. Hey, hang on a minute, you said Balthazar Brat spiked your chocolate bar? Gru said,
yeah, he's such a horrible guy. I really don't like him very much.
They said, right, we need to call the police. And so that's what they did. They called the police and Chad arrived. And he went, hey, what's this I hear about somebody spiking chocolate bars? I'm going to go and arrest that guy. And as soon as Balthazar Brat was allowed to leave hospital, Chad took him to jail. Because you should never put mean things inside other people's chocolate bars. Get them to get really sick. Well, so Balthazar Brat went to jail. And Gru was well on the way to recovery. There was, however, still a triceratops on the loose, which Aunty Lisa had momentarily forgotten about. So they called up Claire and they said, hey, Claire, how's it going on that hunt for that triceratops? And Claire said, oh, it's okay, Aunty Lisa. We used that old trick. You know the one. And Aleksander and Kristoffer said, did you use watermelon? And Claire said, we did use watermelon. He is in the back of the triceratops transporter right now, scoffing up loads of watermelon. Thanks for letting us know he got out. How did he get out? And explained about Balthazar Brat and kidnapping him. And Claire said, oh, that Balthazar Brat. I gotta get my hands on him. And they said, don't worry, he's in jail. And she said, good. He's the meanest, stupidest guy ever. I hate him. And Gru said, me too. So, anyway, they decided to have a nice afternoon tea once everybody was fully recovered. And they'd had an afternoon tea right next door to the triceratops enclosure, where there was a very happy triceratops who was glad to be back with his friends. And they had tea and cake and cucumber sandwiches, because that's what you should have at an afternoon tea. And a lovely afternoon. And that is the end of the story. Love you. Night night.